Good morning.
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 Are you there, Pat?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you.
Oh, good.
All right. The meeting didn't start yet, huh?
What's that?
You didn't start the meeting yet.
Oh, no, we have to wait on Carmelo.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Happy Wednesday. Mr. Chairman, you can start with the preamble.
Okay, in compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We also will be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter by way of our website and email have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Mr. Jacobson.
Mr. Chairman, this is Dan Jacobson from the Law Department. Preliminary matters, the live stream. Can we verify that the live stream is on and functioning?
Yep, it's verified, it's functioning.
And Mr. Chairman, as the Law Department has done since these public meetings have gone virtual and or hybrid, law states its objection to the use of the chat function. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Davis.
Mr. Maschke,
Here.
Mr. Bradley,
Here.
Mr. Dink,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
You have
Here
a
we go.
call.
Thank you. We're going to call first case adjudication order building docket A-1524, 1865 West 22nd Street.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself from this docket.
Thank you, Mr. Dink.
Application and fees are in order. This is an adjudication order. Present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Department of Building and Housing, Dan Jacobson Law. With the appellant or his or her attorney or representative who plans to give testimony this morning, please state your name and your relationship to this project for the record.
Good morning, Paul Began, Began Architectural Design. I'm the architect of record for this project.
Okay, solemnly swear to tell the truth,
Are
the
you
whole
guys-
truth, so help you God?
One second, Mr. Gallagher.
Yes.
I do also see Brian Spear. He is muted.
Okay.
Are you gonna be giving testimony this morning? You need to unmute your mic.
Good morning, everybody. This is Brian. No, I will not be giving testimony this morning.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So,
Is he
Mr. Began, we solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Okay, go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
Yes.
Did he give them
Is
3
it
minutes?
better to face the front or face the camera for you guys?
It doesn't really matter. We can hear you. That's the main thing. And I
Okay.
see where you're situated.
Okay, sure, no problem. Thank you very much. Before we get started, I do want to let you know, and Mr. Vanover can confirm that we have resolved a majority of the adjudication items on the order, and we will be left with only 2, and both of them are the issues regarding the elevator. So.
Okay. So those are the 2 issues that still haven't been resolved yet, and you're expecting possible variation, a request?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that is accurate, that I believe we resolved all but 2 issues that remain, that a variance will be required to proceed as designed.
Okay, and the city is on board with the variance, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, these are 2 items that, and Mr. Began can explain them specifically. There are 2 items that are not compliant to the code, as the city has always proposed. The code is written the way that it's written for a reason. And we will allow Mr. Began to provide an opportunity to explain to the board why granting these variances does not increase the risk or create any hazards for the building, for the design.
Okay, very good. So I'll let him explain and give you a chance to respond. Okay, Mr. Began.
Sure. If we could go back to maybe the first floor plan drawing, and it's worth giving a little, there you go. Thank you very much. It's worth a little bit of history on this building so you can understand some of the design constraints with this particular building.
Did you want to sit on the side so you can, will that help you?
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I mean, that's all right. Very interesting building, very unique site here in 1911 and 1913. 2 buildings were constructed not on this site. And then in around 1920, when what is now the Red Line came in and kind of cut through down next to this to connect the rail to Terminal Tower, 2 buildings were moved to this site and then combined. So on the left side there, you see a kind of a weird shaped building, and then there's a nice rectangle in the middle. Those are the 2 original buildings. They were put close to each other, and then they were connected to each other right there. Part of our renovation is adding an addition to the right or south side, and an addition to the east, which is north on the plan here for a garage. The location for the elevator is in the space that is in between the 2 existing buildings. We have to trying to get a stairwell up into this thing, as well as providing accommodation for an elevator. So this is a LULA, limited use, limited access elevator that we're installing. An elevator is not required for this building. The existing building did not have an elevator. We don't need it for accessible means of egress. We do not need it for accessibility. So both of our variance items are coming up because we are installing an elevator that is not required. So as a limited use, limited access elevator, it's smaller so that we could fit it into the space that we have available to us. It is not fully accessible, and it is not big enough to accommodate an ambulance stretcher. So the two variance items that we are requesting is one for travel distance. Limited use, limited access elevators are by code limited to a travel distance of 25 feet. We are requesting a variance to allow that travel distance to extend to 32 feet, that so that it can reach a new addition that we're putting on top of the building, a penthouse structure here. So that is the one variance I request is travel distance. Second one is to accommodate an ambulance stretcher. And again, for the board, elevators not required, but since we are putting one in, it triggers this requirement because of the 4 stories for this building now with the new addition for the penthouse structure. It triggers the need for an ambulance stretcher, and for that we're requesting a variance.
Okay, so one question before we move on is what is the reason for the elevator?
The elevator is to provide additional access for the building. The way that this building is laid out on the first and second, there are 7 units in this building. On the first and second floor is access to all 7 of those units. The third and fourth floor are 1 unit. So the way that this building goes is coming in from the front, a half a flight up, half a flight down, you are at the front door of all of the units. That being said, because the third and fourth floor combined unit is a little bit higher, we're providing the LULA again to provide additional accommodation above and beyond what is required by code.
Okay, so there are egress points on the upper floors outside of the elevator. In other words, that people can get out down through staircases. Is that correct?
Yes. So the way that this building is designed is our accessible entrance, and accessible means of egress is actually to the east side, to the back of the building. The way that this building sits on the slide is that the front of the building is up half a flight from the first floor, and we have regraded the site so that the back of the building is at grade of the first floor. So the first floor will have accessible means of access and egress on the first floor. The rest of the building on the upper floors would egress, again, down a half a flight to grade at the front of the building.
Okay, any questions from board members? All right, hearing none, I'm going to go over to Mr. Vanover.
So Mr. Chairman, for the record, I want to just identify that the 2 issues that are being discussed are issues 1A on the adjudication order and issue 12 on the adjudication order. And the expectation is all other items will be resolved to become compliant with the adjudication order and the requirements of the code. Specifically to issue 1A, the elevator standard, which is ASME A17.1. Specific is the reference standard through the building code that elevators are supposed to be constructed under. It's not in the building code, but it is the reference standard. And ASME A17.1 is the standard by which limits the maximum travel distance of a limited use, limited access elevator to 25 feet. However, based on proposals from Mr. Began, the elevator company, the manufacturer, will construct a Lula elevator to exceed these and meet their quality control and design standards. However, it is just explicitly not allowable under the code. Issue 12, item 12 rather, is the requirement, and as the code reads, any building that is 4 stories and includes an elevator, the elevator has to be designed to accommodate a stretcher. It does not opine in this portion of the code whether or not it's a required elevator or not. To Mr. Began's point, when he says that this building doesn't require an elevator, that is to say that the building code requires an elevator as an accessible means of egress for buildings where the occupied floor is 4 stories or higher. And that calculates to be a 5-story building, which this building is not. So he is accurate in that a elevator is not required as an accessible means of egress for a building because it's only it doesn't exceed that 4-story limit. It's actually the highest occupied floor is 3 stories if you do the math. So I wanted to clear that up, and ultimately the 3rd and 4th floor are a single unit. The purpose for requiring stretcher-sized elevators under the code is to limit the number of floors that firefighters or first responders would have to bring somebody out of the building if they were somehow in peril. And in this particular case, the main entry, although there is access to the 4th floor, the main entry and the main living space for the top unit is on the 3rd floor. There's some accessory space on the 4th floor, some bonus spaces on the 4th floor. And after review, the only reason this elevator goes to the 4th floor is for convenience of that top floor occupant. The main living spaces for that unit are on the 3rd floor. We would ask that, providing that a variance is granted for item 1A and item 12, with the resolution upholding the adjudication order is properly issued, and recognizing that all other issues on the adjudication order will be brought into compliance.
Okay, Mr. Began, you've heard what the city has to say. Are you in agreement with what he's saying about everything in the adjudication order being taken care of? You on board?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right. So given the testimony that we've been given, and I believe that a motion is in order for item 1A in concerning the travel distance from 25 to 32 feet be granted. And on, let's see, number 12, item number 12, the ambulance, we're dealing with the ambulance stretcher. I believe in other cases where it was existing, we have asked for placards or notification that is the case. So if fire does come in, they know the situation, or if there is an emergency, they know that you can't go down the elevator with somebody. So, Mr. Vanover, does that make sense to do something like that? To have a placard or information in either a control room or somewhere in the building?
Mr. Chairman, so this building does not have or require a fire command center.
Okay,
But a placard at the elevator itself, just stating that elevator is not sized for stretcher access. That elevator lobby is adjacent to it's in the same common areas as the stairs, so I think that would not be inappropriate.
okay. So that being the case, we can put those two variances before the board. Motion
So move.
moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second,
second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Maskey,
yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay,
And Mr. Chairman,
yes, go
we
ahead.
would,
Mr.
we
Maskey.
would ask for an emergency communication on this so that we can process the plan approval.
Okay, very good. Ms. Davis, we're gonna get that done.
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so notification will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna call up the next docket that we have is, well, we're probably gonna need a little clarification even before we get in, but I'll give you the next docket, the first docket, which is A 19623, 9212 Madison Avenue, number 4, also known as 1E.
One second, Mr. O.
Sure.
Sorry. Okay, Mr. Chairman, sorry about that.
Okay.
You called up the docket.
Yes.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance issued on June 15th of 2023. Appeal was received, right? August 21st of 2023. Requesting for time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing. Tom Vanover, Department of Building and Housing. Dan Jacobson, Law. We also have Heather, is she still on? Heather Lazar, representative for Ward 15.
Thank you.
Will the owner or his or her attorney or representatives please state your name for the record? and
Hello,
your
my name is, I'm
relationship
sorry.
To the property.
My name is Robert Levine and I am the property manager for all of the units that are for this property.
You'll be the only one speaking?
I'll be the only one speaking, yes.
Okay, so we have Ms. Lazar from Councilman Spencer's office is with us. So we're going to ask everyone that's going to give testimony in this to solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, so as a clarification, I guess the board probably needs to know in this thing if there is a condominium association. Mr. Levine?
Yes.
There
Yes,
is.
there is.
Okay, all right. And so I'm gonna get, well, I'm gonna let you talk and tell us what the plans are. So you're gonna kind of be addressing all of these units?
All of the units, yes, yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, so I'm gonna get Mr. Vanover on. Mr. Vanover?
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that he's gonna be addressing all of them, not necessarily individually, and I know there are different problems, but each of them. In handling this, if he's the only one, and Mr. Levine, are you a contractor for this?
No, but well, I am working with the maintenance on the maintenance issues, not the, as far as the contractors, individual contractors are pulling their own permits. So
Okay.
as far as like the general maintenance stuff that doesn't need to be permitted, yes, I will, my team is handling that.
Okay, this is going to be a little interesting then. Mr. Vanover, I don't know if it sounds like it's possible to call all these cases up together, or should we do them one at a time?
Well, Mr. Chairman, before we get into that, I would like, just to verify what, with Mr. Levine for the record, what is the name of the management company?
RAL Property Management.
And Mr. Chairman, to, Mr. Levine, the expectation is that you have proper authority from all of the owners of these condos to represent on their behalf.
Yes, we submitted a property management agreement from every owner initially, and in the agreement, it states that it was a 1-year contract that renews month to month, and with proper notice needing to discontinue the agreement, and there has not been notice, and I'm still managing all the properties, all the units.
So, Mr. Chairman, this, the ownership of this property is very complicated because what began as universally owned property, and then the individual condos were sold off and to individual owners, many or all of which are not local. And my understanding is those condos have now been, they're now rentals. They're rental properties. So it's a condo building that's rental units. And so I want to, so Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Levine, so you are currently in the month-to-month phase of that
Of
contract?
the management agreement, yes, with proper notice to terminate by either party.
And Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Levine, is that individual parties, each individual party determines whether they wish to terminate or not?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we don't object going forward. However, being that it appears that Mr. Levine has clear authority to speak on the owner's behalf, I do want to state for the record that any agreement or variance or requests that come from this hearing, that if that contract is terminated, that the owners are still bound by that. My concern is that for those that don't comply or don't move forward, that they'll terminate their agreement and not fully understand that this agreement is, any agreement made here today or any resolution made here today is they are bound by it as well. So I want to put that on the record. I don't object to hearing them all individually, or I'm sorry, all together, with the understanding that we're going to ask that many of these have smoke detector and CO detector concerns, that those are satisfied within a very short period of time.
Mr. Levine?
I'm good with everything that the commissioner said.
Okay, and so those would be the first order of business for everybody to get all that done. So we can open up the rest of the documents, and then you can go ahead and take off from there. So we got building docket A 197-23. It's going to be 9212 Madison Avenue, number 6, also known as 3E. Are we going to, Ms. Davis, do you want to read off for each one of these, or let me just go through it? And which way do you want to handle this?
Mr. Chairman, it doesn't matter to me. If you want to
Okay.
just go ahead and open up the entire docket.
Okay, so everything that's left on board are these different units. So I'll read them off and then we're just gonna open them all up. So, docket A 198-23, it's all gonna be under 9212 Madison Avenue. So I'm just going to read off then, it's number 1D, building docket A 199-23, number 2, AKA also known as 2D, docket A 223, number 5, the unit's number 5, also known as 2E, docket 8201-23, the unit is number 9, also known as 3F, docket A 202-23, the unit is number 12, also known as 3C, docket A 203-23, the unit is number 19, also known as 3A. And the docket A 204-23, the unit is number 16, also known as 3B. Docket A 205-23, the unit is number 17, also known as 1A. Docket A 206-23, the unit is number 15, also known as 2B. A 207-23, the unit is number 14, also known as 1B. Docket A 208-23, unit is number 18, also known as 2A. And then we got docket A 209-23, unit. This one here doesn't have a single unit to it. So
Would that be the common area?
Yeah, okay, that is reading through it. So it must be a common area. It's by Coastal Line Homes LLC. Okay,
Yes.
all right. So that's common area. Docket A 210-23, unit number 7, also known as 1F. Docket A 211-23. Again, this is exterior, so we call that a common area also.
Yes.
Okay, and docket A 212-23, unit 8, also known as 2F. Docket A 213-23, again designated as a common area. And docket A 214-23, unit 10, also known as 1C. And I believe that completes all of them. Does that sound right, Ms. Davis?
Mr. Chairman, that is correct.
Okay, is there anything for you to say on any other of the, on this?
All fees, application and fees are in order for all dockets that were open today.
Okay, Mr. Levine, go
Yes.
ahead and let us know what the plans are.
So I submitted a plan yesterday. I submitted a plan a while ago. I've been discussing with Inspector Derritt consistently. We've made some significant progress on the vacant units. We've had some issues with evictions and with people not current tenants that were placed by the previous ownership, really giving us the ability to do work in their unit. But I submitted a plan for 3 months, a 90-day plan that we can get the units in compliance as well as the exterior. As far as the smoke detectors and CO detectors, I'm pretty certain that Inspector Derritt was out yesterday and the majority of the units do have them. If they do not, I will make sure that is done today, not tomorrow, today, that every single unit, regardless whether it's occupied or vacant, have the proper CO and smoke detectors installed.
Okay, so you're saying you need 90 days that you feel you can complete the violations?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, I spoke with Inspector Jarrett specifically on this, and she did concur that they're making progress on the units. I will, however, state that we would ask for no further extensions on the 90 days. The tenancy of the property, the condition of the property, all of these things affect the purchase price when one purchases property, especially investment property with an ownership structure as complicated as this one. So we do not object to 90 days, understanding that they are in progress. We would ask for no further extensions, and just provide my standard warning that the expectation for the ownership of investment property in the city is that it is well maintained, it is consistently maintained. There are clear tenant landlord laws in the city that provide landlords and property owners access to make repairs. The expectation is that the property is repaired before the city is called. This was this investigation began with a series of complaints. So we would ask that no further extensions be granted, and for this.
Okay, Ms. Lazar.
Thank you, Chairman Gallagher. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was at this property yesterday afternoon about 3 p.m. and I would just like to ask Mr. Levine, when was the last time he visited this property?
Consistently, at least once or twice per week.
Okay, I found the building to be deplorable. On the eastern elevation of the property, there is a large graffiti tag that takes up the height of 1 story. It's directly underneath the 2 billboards that are promoting learning and child development. So I thought that was rather ironic. We have received many complaints about dumping in that eastern immediately adjacent property, which is a former Family Dollar. And when I visited the property yesterday, I noticed that there was a very large hole in the cyclone fence that separates the 2 properties, the property that you're maintaining and the Family Dollar property. In that pile of dump, I saw a bathtub, and I see bathtubs in the photos here. So I think it is very fair to question, is this dumping the result of your overflowing dumpster that has not been emptied, or are your contractors dumping or tenants dumping from the evictions into this lot? This needs to be cleaned up immediately. And it is in high visibility of a main thoroughfare within the Cadell neighborhood. I looked at the back of the building and it does not appear that any repairs have been made to the back structure. Again, I mentioned that the dumpster is overflowing. So I truly appreciate Commissioner Vanover's statement that no additional time is granted, but the expectations of not only the landlords, who I know are not only out of state, they're out of the country, but your role and contract as property manager, the council office expects that you would uphold those standards and treat this property as it should be treated, with respect and respecting the community. And we are requesting that the property moves to prosecution. We would not even support any additional time, but I defer to the guidance of the commissioner for that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lazar. hearing her statement, Mr. Levine, especially as it regards to the dumping or keeping the property clean, you got a response on how you're planning on handling that issue?
I have a call into Waste Management. I know that the current dumpster that we have in the back is overfilled due to the work that's been going on, but that we are not dumping in the lot next door. We did have a dumpster there when we had a couple evictions, but we are not currently dumping any material next door. But if there is any debris on our property or next door, we will have it removed immediately.
Okay, that answers that question.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, so we would, I would also ask that the resolution for more time provide no more than 2 weeks for the smoke detectors and CO detectors, and also 2 weeks to make the exterior of the structure clean, secure, graffiti free, and require that the construction and renovation process that requires its own dumpster. The tenancy of the building should have a dumpster for them for their solid waste and the removal of their solid waste, and then a separate dumpster, independent dumpster for the construction activity be provided so that the tenants are not competing with the contractors for use of a dumpster space. My experience has shown that if people are provided a clear and accessible place to put their trash, then they will do so. When that breaks down, they begin to, it's kind of mob rule. I also recognize that it's difficult anywhere, any neighborhood, any city, any municipality to place a dumpster for an extended period of time because it gets filled up by the neighborhood. So
Exactly.
I understand that, but the expectation is to time the refuse removal and the C&D debris removal and the placement of the dumpster, at the same time so that can be handled.
Mr. Levine?
Yes, understood, and we'll do that. My question though is, for us to get a 30 or 40 yard dumpster back in that lot, it's almost impossible because of the turn. So when we have needed dumpsters previously, we've put them in the Family Dollar lot right up against, right next to our property. Do you have an issue with that?
Can I, Mr. Chairman, I can't grant permission to use somebody else's property. So I think that is a logical solution, but we don't have.
I understand.
We don't have the authority to tell them they
Got
can
it.
place a dumpster on somebody else's property.
Okay. I mean, we've never had you're right. Okay. I understand.
Okay, all right, very good. So a motion is in order to give you 2 weeks, 2024, March 27th, to clean graffiti, clean up the area, and to make sure that all the CO and smoke detectors are taken care of. And also that we'll give you your 90 days to June 12th, 2024 to abate all the violations, and there will not be any extensions granted. Motion?
Mr. Chairman, failure to
Yes.
meet.
Well, failure to meet, the property be remanded back to the Division of Building and Housing for any further action. Okay, motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Maschke, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notification will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you all for your comments. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, that, I believe that concludes our, let's see, that should conclude all of our dockets, I do believe. So, next order of business is a appeal of resolutions. A 396-23 and A 25-24. Motion? Been moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
Second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Maschke, Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Approval of minutes for February 28, 24. Are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Is there any other further business to come before the board?
No.
Okay, well, we stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.